are so excited that you have tuned in again for another episode of Meet My Mississippi Authors and Artists. And of course, we have another amazing author with us today. I always love to let them introduce themselves. So today we have
Lori Harrington.
And you are from?
Houston, Mississippi.
Okay, wonderful. Lori, so where did you grow up and how did you grow up? Where did you graduate from high school?
I've lived in Houston all my life,
Okay.
and I graduated from Houston High School,
Okay.
and I'm still there.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So
Not in high school.
So I always like to tell the guests how I met these wonderful authors and artists. Let me just think back. The first time that we met, basically, we didn't meet. Most of the friends that I meet are on Facebook. We met on Facebook first because I was so crazy about this cover of this book, The Point. I am so crazy about magnolias, and so I was like, oh my goodness, look at that beautiful cover. And the mansion and the magnolia. Now tell me about the mansion that's on there and the.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
There is an old abandoned home. It was a Civil War home in Houston, and a friend of mine owns it, and it was actually used as a Civil War hospital.
Okay.
And so I called him up and I said, I'm very nosy.
Okay.
And I said, do you mind if I just go and look around? He
Okay.
said, you just help yourself. And I went out there alone and I walked around and I sat in the back of the house and imagined what it was like, and my friend's going to remodel it, which my brain ignited, and out came the prologue to The Point.
Okay.
And so it's a very interesting story.
Well, that's how we met. I saw this book cover, loved the magnolia and the house, and I was like, ugh, I wish I had that on my book. I need that. So then I looked it up, and it was a Mississippi author. It was you, and I liked you on Facebook, and I friended you on Facebook. After that, we just started conversing, and then we just recently met each other in person at the book event in Nettleton.
Right.
So
right.
that's the background we have.
Yeah.
Now, what is your background in writing? When did you really start to write? How did you know you wanted to write? Some people start really early. I
Right.
started really, really late, after 40 with my writing. So tell me, when did you start? Did you start with poems? Did you start just writing stories or characters? How did you start?
Well, I think I probably started with, I even would, when I was really young, I would write cartoon strips.
Okay.
I mean, elementary age.
Okay.
My mama she said, I can't really punish you and send you to your room because you'll go in your room and you'll create all this stuff and you have more fun in your room than you do out. So, but I think as I got older in junior high and high school, poetry and short stories.
Okay.
And then by age 15, I've always loved music and been a musician. So the poems became songs. And when I was 15, I wrote my first song and started writing music and lyrics. But I did not write anything but music until my third child went to college, and my husband bought me a laptop and sat down and
now,
did not even.
When was the year that you really started getting it in the laptop, getting it in the
Oh
computer?
goodness, that's a good question. Let's see, it's probably about 2011.
Okay.
I think it's when he was graduating and going off, and I found myself with an empty nest.
Okay.
And I just started writing and haven't stopped.
So tell us about this character, the characters in this book, the place, the setting, the just the wrap up of the whole story, kind of.
Well, it's a fictitious town, small town in the foothills of Tennessee, and my main character is Emma Ashby, and her love interest Drew.
Okay.
And it's just about a girl coming back to her hometown and rekindling an old love, and they actually are renovating this house.
So it's a romance? Or
of course it's a romance. It's got a
Okay.
few twists. It's got some twist and a little mystery, but basically it is a Southern romance.
Okay.
I'm a hopeless romantic.
Me too. So why did you set it in Tennessee instead of Mississippi? Why would
I
you
don't know. I just decided that that one. I just thought, a lot of the. I have no idea. I just picked that.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, and made it up.
Right.
A little town, and I don't know why. I've thought of that a lot.
Okay.
The second one is from
Right.
Mississippi.
So
but-
tell me about the main character, her personality. Tell me just a little bit about her.
Well, Emma is very headstrong, very determined young lady, and she is in advertising.
Okay.
And she goes and about her, when she makes her mind up, she just does it, and she's just an interesting, very much individual.
Okay.
And people have said, well, is she like you? And she has some similarities, but you
Okay.
know, everything you
Right.
write has a little bit of
Absolutely.
all
A little
your.
bit of truth
That one
about
is
yourself.
completely made up. I
Okay.
think that's why it was so much
Right.
fun, because I
Okay.
got to create
Right.
this little firecracker Emma.
Love that. Love
yeah.
that. Okay, now we're going to go to the second book here,
Oh.
Michael's Heart, and I do love that the cover, and I think it kind of gives you the idea of how the feel of this book. Now, this book is so interesting to me because I learned this in Nettleton when you talked about it. Like, you went back to the song that you had written so many, many years ago and used that as the backdrop or the soundtrack
Right.
of this movie. We call it a movie. 'cause
yeah,
you
we
did
wish.
you
Yeah,
know,
did a little
because
video.
you did a video with
Right.
it and scenes and all that.
Right.
So tell us about that.
Well, actually, this book has many true
Right,
to life experiences in my life. That is my heart.
right,
And in the book, my character in that book is a musician, and she, Colby, and she writes music, and it's very true to life how music comes out of a person that hears the music, and there again, it's a romance.
okay.
But the song, as I started writing the book, well, one book song I had written about 15 years ago.
Right.
But one song, as I wrote, I thought, wow, she's a musician. These songs fit. One I wrote 25 years ago.
Right.
So I was able to go back into the studio and re-record and
Isn't
put
that
them on my
amazing?
website. So if you read the book, you can click on and listen.
Oh, we love that. So it's amazing how art imitates life and life imitates
Oh,
art, and how it
yes.
all comes together as an artist and author. You can use anything and everything. That's what I
And
tell
nothing's
the
wasted.
children. It's like when you talk to them in schools, keep your journal. Keep
Thank
your favorite
you.
little things. Keep words that you like. Keep ideas, because I'm
True.
telling you, if you become an author, you can use all of those little ideas,
Exactly.
all those interesting people, make up characters from the things that you've heard them say that were funny. Keep a
Right.
journal.
It's your imagination.
It is.
And your essence. And when you journal,
It comes out.
and actually I've kept journals for many, many, many years. I have
Right.
shelves full.
And you have no filter with that. Don't have a filter with it. Just
Exactly.
write. Just write how you're feeling, write how you're thinking. And if you want to do a memoir one day, then that'll come in handy too. You know what I mean?
That'll have to be buried with me. I'm not writing it.
But then you did say when you were in Nettleton that some of this has to
Oh,
do with
yes.
the ups and downs of your life and things like that. So,
Very,
what were some of the little
no.
twists and turns in this book? 'Cause it's just
Well,
like a
this
lot.
book is written as a love story.
Yes.
And early on, you can tell it's completely fiction, but the what if is what remains. This book in particular has actually, there is a character so true to life, I'm not going to mention the name,
Right.
from my hometown, that I had to give her a book because
Right.
I was afraid she would get me. And but she needed, I mean, it's just a full of hometown characters, and like I said, this one is set in Mississippi.
Right,
I
right.
wanted to, but I made up a fictitious town,
Right.
but it is in Mississippi, but this is so special to me because it deals with things that women
Okay.
really
yes,
face.
said
It deals with
Right.
abortion, miscarriage, infertility, and adoption. And it might sound like, oh, well, it's that, but it's written in such a way that anybody can identify. And I even had reviews, you know, if you get your reviews after people read it. And one lady actually private messaged me, and she was a widow, recent widow, and told me what it meant to her, because it does deal with loss and dealing with it and the hope.
Right.
But when you finish the book, you'll sit back and think, wow, how many people are missing in this world? And it's not a Christian book per se.
Right.
I wrote it in a way that anybody can listen, but it's just a different way to think. But of course, it's in a love story form, so
I think everybody should read this book. It's like layers and layers and layers of everything in there.
It's very
you can find
different.
a little bit
It's
of
very
everything.
different.
Yes, it is. And definitely go to her website, because you get to see the little video that you made.
Yeah,
you get to hear the music that goes along with it, and it's just like, oh my goodness, rumping in the fields, in the country fields, things like that. So I love it. Where did you make the video? Who shot the video?
Oh, wow.
Your music was in there, and then tell us your website.
Well, actually, my son has this dear friend that is at Mississippi State, Brennan Byrne, an amazing young lady, and she has a friend with a drone.
Okay.
And so they all got together, and we went into a field in Pontotoc, Mississippi, in a sod farm field.
Okay.
And we tried to find a place that looked like a picnic, and we used our imagination to create scenes from the book. And actually, my daughter and her husband did the video with
And it
me.
is beautiful.
Well, thank you.
It is beautiful.
But if you would like to see it, you can go to my website, www.loriThomasHarrington.com, and click down, and you will find my video there.
Okay.
And my music. Click on, listen to the music, and
So
love
of
to
course
hear.
people want to know about your personal life and all that, and I didn't ask that at the very beginning. We want to know, about your family,
Oh, wow.
children, grandchildren, all that kind of stuff.
Well,
too.
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
I have been married to my husband Hank for 34 years, I think, and we have 3 children and 2 grandchildren, about to have our 3rd.
Okay.
So we are
Excited.
blessed,
Beyond measure.
and I've always, my family comes first. My family's been everything. So this is like so much fun, and I love that they get to help me make up characters, and my
And
daughter,
books
my
are
granddaughter's
part of the
name.
family too, because they're our book babies. You know how that is for
Exactly.
an author. They're part of the family.
Actually, my son made up the main character in this book, and the other book, The Point. My granddaughter's name is Emma Rivers, and it thrilled her that the character's name was Emma.
Okay,
So
and give me the name of your soon-to-be grandchild, because I'm like, that is a book character for sure.
it is Harrington Banks.
Okay.
Due in August, so we're ready.
So that is definitely going to be a book character. I love that.
Yeah.
Now
that
tell
is.
us, recently, last year or year before that, you were named the Citizen of the Year.
I
or
was
something.
Yeah, I was Woman of the Year. I was stunned.
Okay, we got a celebrity.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
That was last
Okay.
May, actually. I was
Okay.
so surprised.
Wonderful. How did you find out about it? Why did they say you were the Woman of the Year of Houston? Right?
Well, they did from
okay.
Houston. I actually got a phone call from our editor at the newspaper, and he said, "Well, I need to ask you some questions." And I said, "Okay." I thought we had done all the book interviews, and he said, "You do know you're Woman of the Year?" And I said, "What?" I don't know how that came about. I really don't. I just
Because probably you were doing so much to promote the area with your books and things like that, and you were just going everywhere and then making, these videos
Well,
and just doing
I
all
was
kinds of
just
stuff. You were doing a lot.
overwhelmed, and I told him, I said, I don't care who you are, life's tough, and to me, not that I'm the only one, but I hope I have been an inspiration, because there are so many times that we want to give up and we think we can't, and after 50 years old, I decided to not only write a book but get 2 published. And so that is like, I hope, encouragement that you're never too old and it's never too late. And so hopefully that's what made me get that honor. I don't know, but I was very, very blessed and
Absolutely.
thankful for that.
So I love that. I was going to ask you, what is the message that you want to give with your life and with your books? And it is, and I say this all the time on my Facebook, it's never too late. As long as you have breath in your body.
Thank you.
As long as you're living, it's never too late.
Never.
It's never too late to write that first poem or to publish your book or to get things right in your family or to say I love you to somebody.
Thank you.
You know,
Right,
do
right.
that.
We forget
So
that.
I love that's the message that you have to give, and it's one that I try to tell people all the time. If you're 70, Grandma Moses started painting when she was, 90 years old or something like that, or 80
Never
something.
too late.
You know, it's never too late. So.
And it's always something next. And to me, if you're not always looking
For the next.
and your eyes are
Greater.
closed so tight, you miss so much of life.
Absolutely.
And there's a story everywhere, and even if you don't write it down, experience it.
Absolutely.
You know.
And one of my favorite quotes also was, you only live once, but if you live right, once is enough.
Thank you.
So
That's
whatever
true.
life throws at you, deal with it, do it.
And, and we're all wired up for some purpose and some
Absolutely.
thing, and we always are thinking, well, I can't do anything. And I go and speak to young people, and I say, I don't care if you were put on this earth to be a basket weaver, be the best one you can.
Absolutely.
As long as you love
And
it.
somebody needs some baskets.
But love it. And we can't
absolutely.
usually, I can't do
what you can do.
Without
Right.
those wonderful editors.
Exactly.
They make me look good.
Exactly.
In everybody's
So a
affects
message to authors out there. Tell us about promotions, because I tell people 20% of it is just getting your book published, because you already have your own little story in there. You have what you're going to write and get it when you get it published. But then that's the thing. After is 80% of everything is the promotion. Nobody can read your book if they don't know about it. That's what people don't understand.
And people don't
So
understand
tell me
how hard this
it
is
to do.
And that is exactly what you said. The easy part's right. And you got your story.
Absolutely.
But I was unprepared for the promotion.
Right. Most authors are. That's why I talk about it, because I want them not to be discouraged. They get discouraged and they just put the book down. You spent all that time.
Right. Well, I didn't write it
know.
thinking I'm going to make $1 million.
But
I
still,
did. But you
wrote
want
it
people
for
to
a
read
reason.
it, right?
Exactly.
And so I go with this company. When I first start with my books, the first thing I do is I go with a online book tour.
Right.
And I go with this company, and they boost it for like 6 weeks, and then they ask people if they want to read it, and I get a lot of reviews there. And
blog tours,
right,
like that, yes.
and speak around, Mississippi, and a lot of times I'll go into like libraries are huge, and I'll go in libraries, and I've met some of the most wonderful people, and I've been asked to speak at different organizations. Hey, I'm here.
Absolutely.
Anytime you get a chance.
Anytime
but
an author always wants to speak at a library or
always,
civic organizations, because there is a message behind it and there's a story, and we really want to promote literacy and reading. And another thing I tell authors, 100,000 people will love it and 100,000 people will hate it. Don't get caught up on the bad reviews or people who don't like what you write. Everybody didn't like Prince or Elvis or what? Okay, who doesn't like Elvis? I'm saying, really, you see what I'm saying? There are actually people in the world, God forbid, that don't like Elvis. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you can't get caught up on people who don't like what you do. You find your tribe.
Exactly.
You find the people who love Lloyd Harrington. Love the point. And that's how you get promotions also, is people who love your stuff. They're going to tell people about it.
That's the best. And
it is, word
but
of mouth.
that one, I prepared myself with Michael's heart. My publisher said, toughen up.
Yes.
Not everybody's going to like this book. It's going to step on toes.
Absolutely.
So far, I haven't had a lot of negative feedback, but I had to prepare, but you know what?
It shouldn't
don't let
to
it
you.
stop you.
Don't let it stop you. You have to have a tough...
That's just life.
Yeah, life
Right.
period.
Exactly.
So that's a learning experience with authors, and we get to teach a lot. to people
We really
by being
do.
authors, because you get to tell people life experiences. And when you go to schools and junior high and high, it's not that serious, baby. It is not that
Exactly.
serious.
They're not listening, but they
Yeah,
do.
You know, and they've had this rash of suicides lately of young
Unbelievable.
children that they are just hopeless. I just don't understand it, and I'm just, you know, and like I said, your message comes in with all of that.
Well,
Everybody has a hard life. Everybody has been bullied. Everybody has had some tough times. You can get over it, honey, and go through the tunnel.
Exactly. And that's one thing, like speaking with you and meeting you and other authors, that's another great resource is because we learn from one another and we share with one another.
Absolutely.
And there's it's nothing like talking to a fellow artsy person because we have a brain all of our own, and people don't always get it, but it does help. We're wired differently. And what we do is so hard, and people don't realize. They're like, oh, they wrote a book. It's very hard and a lot of footwork and a lot of miles on that car. And
it is.
But yes, I do encourage anybody though.
And most authors and artists are so passionate about what they do. So be nice, people.
Be nice.
These are our babies, and we
They're
birth
hard.
them into the world, and we want you all to know about them. But really, we're trying to promote reading and literacy and just any kind of literary efforts. Mississippi is known for all kind of authors, and you can get your book self-published. You can go the route of a traditional publisher or whatever. Just get your work out there. You can start with a poem and put it in your church bulletin or something.
Right, anything.
You know, so many authors and artists are just so scared to get it out there because they're scared to get their feelings hurt.
Rejection.
Exactly.
Anytime you put your heart and soul and passion into anything.
And it was kind of easy
It's
for me
hard.
because my husband said, you are the beggingest person in the world. And that's not just with books. That's just with anything. If I want something or I want to ask somebody something, I'm saying all they can say is no.
Thank you.
All
That's
they can
true.
say is no. What is the worst thing they can say?
No.
If I say, oh, I need that bracelet, let me get it. What? Hey.
Well, even sending my book, because I did choose the traditional route.
Right.
So sending those letters out to publishers, and I mean, there is no telling how many. That was scary in itself because I got a lot of no's before I got a handful of yeses.
And that's why authors need to read up on the histories of all of these big time authors too, because what's his name? J.K. Rowling, the one who did, what's her name? The one who
J.K.
did
Rowling.
the one who did the Harry Potter books.
And
she said she was like at her lowest. She was like a single mother or something and just barely making it, and she just got rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection.
Wow.
And think about all those people who say, wow.
Really?
They turned that down.
Yeah.
I turned that down.
Wow.
I had the chance to go with that.
John Grisham peddled A Time to Kill, and that was his first book out of his car.
And people didn't want it. Didn't want to give him book signings.
See,
that's
you
why
never
he
know.
comes back to Oxford and to Tupelo Reads, because they were one of the first to give him.
See, I think that's wonderful, and they don't forget that.
Absolutely.
And people think that I've learned since then. My favorite author of all time is a lady called Diana Gabaldon, and she wrote the Outlander series, and she's amazing. And I actually wrote her, or I messaged her on Facebook. She responded back. I almost had a fit, but I found, because I've also emailed Karen Kingsbury in the past because one of her stories moved me. I found that they will respond back because the bottom line, however successful or insignificant you may think you are as an author, authors love to hear from readers because bottom line, they want that story to connect. It's about connecting with someone else.
And that's the thing about it.
That's the joy of it.
Find your tribe.
Find your tribe.
And that goes with things like Star Wars. Everybody told him when he was starting out, George Lucas, that is not going to work. That is too out of the, realm of what people want to hear. It's too crazy. It's too weird. They just told him back to back to back rejections.
Right.
Think about all the people who rejected that.
See.
And he just kept on going like, there are people, now what? He has a cult following for years and years and years. So that's what we want people to know.
Right. And I don't think anybody that's successful was successful right at the beginning.
Absolutely.
Everybody has a story of
Absolutely.
rejection
They really
before they
do.
get it. It's
Now
perseverance.
tell us again, what is your website? Say it really slow so they'll know how to go there and see there's amazing videos. They'll learn
Okay.
about your books and learn about your life and characters and promote a positive Mississippi of a wonderful literary history.
My website is www.loriThomasHarrington.com, and you can find my information on there, and you can even order my books from there, or you can also find them on Amazon.
Okay, spell Lori Thomas.
All right, LORITHOMASHARRINGTON.
Wonderful.
So that's how you
wonderful.
spell it. Write it down.
Thank you so much, friend, for coming with us,
Thank you
sitting
for
with
having
us
me.
today. And again, thank you all for tuning in for another episode of Meet My Mississippi Authors and Authors. We love you. Tune in again.
It's inside me, girl, it's in the air. It's who I am through and through. It won't take long till it gets to you. It's everywhere.